A very warm good afternoon to Vanna ma'am, Harvinder ma'am, Bhupender sir, all faculty members and my dear students. I welcome you all to the second day of series of sessions themed on women achievers in India during this Durga Navratri 2020. Today we have with us Dr. Harvinder Paul Popli, Director, School of Pharmaceutical Sciences at Delhi Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research Institute, State University of Government of NCT Delhi. She is also Director of DPSRU, Innovation and Incubation Foundation. She is ex-director of Ranbaxy Research Laboratories, wherein she was part of senior management for strategy, global collaborations, acquisitions and licensing. She has professional accomplishment of over 30 years of experience in R&D, academics and industry in the field of pharmaceuticals. She is the B Pharma from Delhi University and a gold medalist holder, M Pharma in Pharmaceuticals with distinctions from Delhi University, along with postgraduate diploma in business management. She continued her research in novel drug delivery for steroid drugs and completed her PhD from Delhi University. She has been awarded prestigious Commonwealth Fellowships in UK to pursue postdoctoral research in Manchester, UK. After a very successful stint in Ranbaxy advised clients, incubators, and startups for technology valuations in pharmaceutical and biotechnology industry sectors in India and abroad as an independent entrepreneur before moving on as professor in Delhi Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research University in 2016. As an advisor in the Health Committee of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, FICCI Biotech Committee member, interacted with governmental agencies to bring out several healthcare sector issues of industry and academia. We welcome you, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Soumya. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Vandana and the Lloyd Institutes, for making me a part of this session of celebrating women achievers in India. And I'm really, really thankful to you that, you thought that it is kind of a worth for me to share, some of my story, which is not.
I'll take, with your permission, 1 minute before you start your presentation, because it's really necessary for everybody to know that this the long introduction that Soumya gave was so necessary, because I mean, everybody here, 300 people who are going to be joining us, 215 now, and many others who are watching us on Facebook podcast, it's very important to know the kind of achievement that Dr. Popli has achieved. And more so with having a family life, obviously having children, a husband and in-laws. And because we talk of challenges, we talk of obstacles as not only men and women, but as people in general, that we have so much, that there are obstacles and there is no time. So, I mean, everybody can visualize the kind of studies that ma'am has done, the achievements that she has got till now, and more so she has achieved and she has produced good students also. So proud to say that I am also one of the very humble students of Dr. Popli. And, she's taught me during my UG and PG years. So it's such a proud moment to get her on board. Every time she comes on an online session or even offline when she's in the campus, I feel proud to tell everybody that I'm your student. So welcome, ma'am, again, and over to you now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Vandana. And it is really a proud moment for me as well. You are inspiration yourself, as I was telling it to you, that, you are an inspiring woman. And I really feel proud that, we have been associated and you have grown so well as a professionally. And definitely, I mean, I'm not here to give some kind of a lecture, but, just to interact and share with you and, have, there are so many women, who are very, very talented and who really feel sometimes as we used to feel it. Like, when we were there, we were also feeling so much of challenges and everything. So this is something to hand holding each one of you, that you are not different, We are also the similar ones, and not one or the most empowered women also, have all these challenges which one has to do it. So I'll share a small presentation in which, I'll talk about in journal that what are the things, what we talk about the women empowerment, what actually it is, and what it is. And then I'll share with you with my story, after giving you the little background about it. I'll share the screen. Okay, when we talk about the empowering women, it is empowering women together. So this is a process of basically increasing the capacity for individuals or the groups. You have to make your choices. That's very important in life, and to transform those choices into a desired actions and outcomes. Uh, so why do we need like empowerment? So the main problems, as we were been also discussing, is that what do we have? We have, right from a beginning, sometimes, not many, not nowadays too much, is a gender bias. Or maybe, when you grow up as a professionals and a working woman, then you have a problem at the workplace, maybe unequal pay, maybe it's a leadership, maybe it's the mental and physical harassment that you have to work at home, you have to work in the office, or maybe once you are having a children, then there is an insufficient maternity leave and you always have a feel of guilt that I'm leaving my children behind. Or there is a problem at the family, it could be a family duties, it could be a time balance, or it could be a mother responsibility, sister responsibility, daughter responsibility, or there can be a lot of business tours or during a training, or your health yourself, like health and a fitness. So there are lot of these issues which we are facing, which all need this kind of empowerment. So empowerment is not something it is basically overcoming these dilemma yourself. So what I consider is this empowerment has the 5 components. Its first is very important, is a sense of your self-worth, their right to have and to determine your choices. That's the very important, that you have to make your own choices. And also the access to opportunities and resources. There has to be a power to control your own life, both within the house and also outside the house, and the ability to influence the direction of a social change to create a more just social and economic order nationally and internationally. So you can make the impact only when you are influencing the society or influence the system around you or social change around you. That's what we call it as a women's empowerment. I'll share with you some figures. Like women in India, they represent half of the populations, but there are only 29% of our workforce. So when you see that almost equal to the combined population of US, Indonesia, Brazil, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Japan, this all put together. So women populations is 48.5%, and with the sex ratio and the child ratio is again 943 and 919 of the men. But some of the facts which is cause of the concern is that about 66% of the female populations in the rural area is unutilized due to the social stigmas. And in agriculture and animal care, the women contribute 90% of the total workforce. Women constitute almost half of the populations and perform nearly 2/3 of its work hours. And they receive 1/10 of the world's income. And they own less than 1/100th of the world property. And if you look into among the world's 900 million illiterate people, women are outnumbered, men 2 to 1. And there are 70% of the people which is living in poverty are the women. So, these are some of the concern, and more so in India, there are 45% women are slapped. There are 75% are battered women which tried to commit suicide. There are 77% men felt their masculinity threatened if their wives didn't listen to them. And the 55% women perceive violence as normal part of their kind of a marriage. And from an India fact sheet, if you'll see the currently married woman who usually participates in household decisions, the figure is not bad. Like it's 85%, the urban woman is now deciding. Now, women who worked in the last 12 months and who were paid in cash percentage is something around 22%. And even the married women who have experienced the spousal violence is again, close to 25% in urban area as well, which is a matter of concern, and 35% nearly in the rural area. And who is a married woman who has experienced the violence during any pregnancy is about like 5%, 3 to 5%. And women owning a house or a land alone or jointly with others is nearly 35 to 40%. And women having a bank or saving account is now improving at 61%, but still in rural area it's 50%. And women having a mobile phone that they use themselves is in rural areas is still a matter of concern, is about 37, while in urban is like 61. And between 15 to 24 years who use the hygienic methods of protection during the periods, it's about 80% in urban, while in rural it's still the 50%. So you can all think of that padman kind of acting. So when we talk about the ways to empower the women, it's to increase their mobility, increase their social interaction. You have to change the women's labor and employment laws, and give control to the managed resources. The literacy is very important, and opportunities of the self-employment. And you have to very clearly define that women not a sex symbol, but it's a symbol of power. These are all stories, and sometimes as I see that a lot of the audience is university graduates or postgraduates, so sometimes it's very difficult to correlate with the figures which I had shared with you. So I would like to share with you some of the positive stories for these women, like for example the Lijjat Papad. So I don't know, since it's a online session, so I cannot ask that how many of you know about the Lijjat Papad story. But if you see the Lijjat Papad story, they have started sometime in 1950. So Lijjat Papad started by 7 women in Gujarat, and if you look into their turnover, it's 800 crores turnover today, and they started with the 80 rupees. So in 2002, they were having a 300 crores of the turnover. So in this also the CAGR with which they have improved is so high. And how many people, like 42,000 people are employed, or women are employed. And that is really, really inspiring, that it's no matter the education, it's no matter, it's the skill which is important, and through which and the determinations. And these 7 women, they have made whatever we learn in your MBA, the financials, the charts, the Gantt charts, they have fulfilled everything into it, and they have found out the method that how do they distribute. They opened so many centers, and they found out that they can equally divide their profits. So each center, whatever the profit they are generating, no matter what is the contributions, so they made it a kind of a partnership where they were sharing this. And the next example is also this Mandesi Mahila Sehkari Bank. And incidentally, that is also started in Gujarat only, and they employed the economically active women. And so it empowered them financially whenever they had to start any kind of a business, and they employed a lot of many people. And many of you also know about the Seva is a self-employed women association. So they deal with not only the clothes, but the groceries, the so many other services the Seva has been doing. This is founded in 1972. And all these examples, what you see is mainly, from kind of a Gujarat. So you can see that, these women, had so much of a kind of a determination, where, they thought that, these are the things which they can, do and go back into that. So let me share with you some of, the kind of my story in a sense. I'll just go back to the slide. Okay. Right. So again, basically, you have like all listened about the details, what I have done, but let me share you with my all dilemma. Basically, what I can see is right from a beginning, if I'll share with you what is not written in my profile, is that who would not be a dreamer, of being born basically and raised in a very scenic place, surrounded by mountains. I was blessed to be born and brought up in serene surroundings that gives me a wings to fly across the shores and the mountains, made me a dreamer to rise up like them and stand rock solid even in the most adverse situations. So I was born in a northern part of India, the state of Himachal Pradesh, and I always wondered that why I'm a dreamer and not like most of the Indian women. It was then and also later that I would clearly realize that I was different. And I was different as a person, I was different as a woman, and that would me to create my own destiny. Yet I was similar to my parents in the values that I witnessed them every day of their lives. My father was an engineer and my maker who was supporting my father as a most Indian woman. And it was then and also later that I would clearly realize that I found that I truly imbibed the values from her and the hard work, which basically I thought that can take you anyone to the places. So there was one thing which I read in a newspaper since those days, that very few women reach the top, and I knew that I had to change. So I would often see that the girls are equally good and often better than the boys while growing up in the schools and colleges. Then why do a very few of them reach the top? And surprisingly, we read such statements spread across the newspaper. Even now we could see that there is a differentiations, while what was there 30 years before is not visible to you probably in a metro cities like Delhi. So after completing my school, my mother wanted me to get married, but my father recognized basically my excellence in academics and wanted me to focus on a higher studies. So I had taken up science as the main subject during my higher secondary. So my father being an engineer, he thought that the field of engineering may not be a good choice for me. So you can see the differentiations. Like now you will see that a lot of women, go as for an engineering field, but very few used to go for engineering field at that time. So this has very less females, and thus may not be a very welcoming to women, were my father's thought. So thus, after a lot of discussions with a very few people, who were working in a pharma industry and in the pharmacies, so I was enrolled to study the pharmacy. So again, then, as mentioned, I came to the College of Pharmacy, which is now the DIPSAR, and began my journey in a very unknown field that would later become, my identity. So I had an innate yearning to excel at everything. So I had done all my hard work, my strengths to understand the complex subject of pharmacies. Few of you, if you are from a pharmacy background, you can see that, after you come from 12th, you find it very complex. And but I do get the rewards. I was secured first rank in my undergraduations and also my post graduations. But later on, what you see, the moms are moms, after all. So seeing my cousins getting married, my mother wanted me to get married and settle down. So it was that time that I was pursuing my post graduations, and my father yielded to her request for should I say basically an order. So I got engaged in a first year itself. So little did I know that I would have the best of the both worlds. So my partner, who is an engineer worked with a leading PSUs, public sector undertaking, would then turn out to be just not my life partner, but a partner who would be the force behind me to realize my dreams. So as a young girl, I got married and soon became a mother at the age of 23 years. So life, give you a lot of dilemmas, as I shared with you, to figure out. So these dilemmas, make us think and revisit what we want to achieve in life. So once again, I was at the crossroad to decide what should I do, and how do I choose my kind of a life. So I was, offered a research associate position with a leading pharmaceutical company, Ranbaxy at that time. So I knew that, I had a multiple roles to play as a mother, as a daughter, as a daughter-in-law, as a wife. So it seemed difficult to, for me to commit that demanding job in a, the growing Indian pharma industry that was preparing to, spread its footprints across the globe. So I had to make a choice. So as I mentioned to you, you have to make a choices. So I made one, not knowing that my true calling will come later on. So where I is supposed to be, basically shine. So I made a choice not to join that positions, and then, go for a higher studies. And one of my relatives, he recommended going me for the PhD. There was Professor S.N. Sharma, he came at Hamdard College of Pharmacy. So I approached him for, enrolling me as a student. So he was very reluctant and very unsure of it, because I was a mother, and, he obviously thought that, that the time required for a research I may not be able to give, because I have a young son at that time. But the situations, I think, each one of you sometimes as a woman face. So at that some point, but you have to, one, they don't realize that, that women can work strong and can multitask, but the fact remains that we have to prove our strengths all the time, many times. So although, Professor Sharma, he saw exceptional academic records and new research based learning. So then, he took me as a PhD candidate, and my journey started. So that was my turning point in my life. So I got an opportunity to present myself globally and network with the industry peers. I was privileged to do a research work, in collaborations with a leading institutes like AIMS, ICMR, IIT, NPL. And my research work, gave me opportunity to, travel across. And, incidentally, my husband, got posted in Canada. So I, through the network, I could connect with the Toronto University, Saskatoon University, do some of the work. uh, so so as a natural step after submission of my PhD, I applied for a UPSC posting as a lecturer in the College of Pharmacy, which is my alma mater. So where I had graduated. So I was fortunate enough that, I got selected and I got the job. So then, again, the life was standstill, and I was again, thinking that what do I want, more in kind of my life. So like most of the peers, I applied for a small projects, a UGC, AICT, but, core from my heart, I wasn't very, very happy in a sense. And once, after I was applying for one of the projects, so I saw a big queue, outside the UGC. So I'd seen that, this queue, when find out it was, for a Commonwealth fellowship, basically. And there are only 20 fellowships across the country, covering all the subjects. So my husband, basically, he encouraged me to, apply for those fellowship. And that was another turning point in my life, that, I got that fellowship. So then again, dilemma came in, that, basically leaving it for the University of Manchester. I have that time my another two children. My son was 10 years old, my daughter was only 1 year old. And but, somehow, they all, the family, I was able to enroll them, so they supported me. So I got this opportunity to, again work with the leading renowned professors and researchers, and, did a lot of consultancy projects with the industry, basically, which honed my knowledge in the field of novel drug delivery. So after my stint in UK, I returned to Delhi and applied again, for the post of UPSC, for the assistant professor, for a reader again. So I was lucky enough, I got through. Again, I was working, but then I was approached by Ranbaxy Research Laboratories, to join their R&D. So at that point, I was settled in a government job, but, the joining industry was a huge opportunity. So I decided to take a chance. So, what I wanted to share with you, that every time, life give you a choices and give you also the opportunities. The one, if you have to grow in your life, then, you have to choose, and then you have to, take those chances. So I took that chances. So I was determined to work very hard, apply my knowledge to best of my abilities, and convert that challenge into opportunity. It was very challenging, and having spent, 10 years in academics, and but, in a technical knowledge, I was always ahead of the curve. But once I joined the industry, I realized that there are so many things I need to learn: the international regulations, legal and market requirements, multiple territories, different geographies. But I was determined to be very flexible as well, and ready to adapt to an industry or academic or a national or an international culture. So that helps to succeed in my endeavors. So what you need is that zeal, that you need to adapt to a new cultures, that not into a move beyond your comfort zone. So that's one of the learnings, probably, which I have from my story. And this, once I joined this Ranbaxy, this gave me an immense platform to learn, to experiment, to apply my learnings. And this multifaceted learnings, made me grow into the organizations, but it gave me opportunities holistically. So I served in various departments. So the industry was also full of challenges, and I still recall that in a boardroom, many times I was the only female, and I chose to be in a profession of a corporate licensing. That was first time in a field. And it was not only in the India, like that gave me opportunity to go globally. And I still can share with you my story, that once I was doing a lot of deals in a different geographies, and specifically there was a challenge given to me in Ranbaxy, that there was they wanted to do a deal with the Japanese. And Japanese, as you know, is a very, very kind of a conservative, and many times are not even get the appointments to talk to them, to do a collaborations with them. So, and their methodology is very different. And specifically, some of you who have experience with the Japan market, you could say that in the Japan market, the women are also not very welcome, and you will see all male around it. So the first time, when they go and see that the female is there, so the half the thing is already because most of the deals, especially when we are talking about the mergers, acquisitions, and the corporate licensing, they happen over the, as per their culture, they happen over the dinner or over the drinks. They talk about it, they talk about the deals and structuring, but the final deal clenching, what you can see and happen. And me as a woman had a the lot of these kind of inhibitions by my side and by that side. But slowly, I worked towards it, and I found out that it's your hard work, it's your perseverance. And I made great collaborations, and I've succeededly, I was the one who could bring new chemical entities to India and can strike the deals with them. Until today also, I had got such a beautiful relations with all the Japanese, in that, and they used to come and even receive me at the airport. So these are all kind of a develop. So I overcome that challenge of having that international this thing. And same thing happened in China, in Korea, in sometimes in the US. So this gave me a lot of platform, and there is a lot of learning I had. So the overall work, my focused on collaborations, partnerships, co-development, licensing, uh, which happens to strengthen business. So I was, during all my tenure, I could do more than 50 agreements and 50 deals, and brought almost 200 products to the active market, and worked in a wide area of dermatology to urology to oncology to respiratory. So that was very, very kind of a rewarded. So I always was, believed in the strength of the teams. So the another lesson is that it's not alone who can work. You need a team to work. You need, whenever you are leader, it's not something you have to take everybody along. This team professionally as well as, and the teams at home also. Because if you have been working in your office, and if your mind is not at rest, so that means you should have a powerful team with your maybe a domestic help, your family partners, or whosoever has been taking care of you this thing. And while you are working in a corporates, again you should have a need a very empowered team who can share your dreams, and who can also work the way you wanted to have it. So it was a very fruitful for me, and I worked very professional passionately in my industrial role across the nation, followed the best partnering practices, and pharmaceutical business development. So another learning, what I can say is that whatever you do, do with a passion. Once you do with a passion, it is never a kind of a burden to you. So after a very successful stint in a pharma industry, I did a little bit of an entrepreneur journey. But due to some other kind of reasons, with that, while my children were my son was at the marriageable age, and my the parents were older and they needed me. So I thought that, okay, I have done enough, so I should go back to academics. And I got an opportunity, to be again a part of my alma mater, which has become by that time a university, and give back to the society. So while young students, gave me energy every day, and I could see there is a, with my rich experience of an industry for 15 years and bit of academia, then I found myself at a very good positions to connect the industry with the academia. So this also gave me a lot of energy to move ahead. And when I read the reports between the gap between the industry and the students which is passing out of the university, it pains me. So I wanted to really do something for them. So there is a cause. So you work and your passion works, when you have a defined cause for that what you wanted to do is in that. So now I'm at the stage of my life where giving back gives me a more satisfaction and also a happiness. So I have involved myself in a lot of community services and giving back to society. So what I have learned and gained over the past many years, I'm sharing my time, my knowledge with others, and through my the positions as a Society of Pharma Education and Research Spur Women Forum, and also through the Wiki, which is the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So I'm able to bring with me a women leaders, like who aspires to do something for the next generations. So I thought that I became a network or a via media of joining hands with another powerful woman, or in a leadership woman, and we can create awareness. So there are a lot of missions I have in my life, is now that I have to work towards the health and hygiene, disease awareness, women's health, women leaderships, women training, development, entrepreneurships, and these all I'm able to do it because I've been associated with another fellow women, another fellow colleagues and partners, and I've also been associated with the Rotary International from 2010, and I am now the president elect for the 21-22. So this also gives me opportunity to serve the community through the health camps, through the service projects, through the awareness campaigns, and through several projects of water sanitization, supporting environment, or the maternal health care. So these are few things which gives you a lot of positive energy as well. So I feel honored also that my work has been recognized at the various national and international forums, and my family, which played a very important role in my in whatsoever I am today. So it's my and I surely feel that there are a lot of challenges for a woman leaders. So managing a career and a family while managing sanity is not a very easy task. So most of us believe that we can have it all, fulfilling career, relationships, and children, but that's not possible without you have a family support. So working women, they have to simultaneously run their families and work with the, while traditional gender expectations, still prevail. So what I see is that, you have to focus on what you're good at and what you are passionate about it. So I'll share with you, some of the next slides, some of my journeys in a Rotary. So you could see that, we went to a vocational, this is, a picture of a singer center which is happening at the Tughlaqabad. So where there is a lot of girls. Now you are all studying in university, doing your MBAs or doing your masters, during your graduations, but look at those, they didn't even have any kind of a skills, and they are coming, most of their parents are working as a domestic help and they don't had anything. So there is a center which is supported by a Rotary, and they provide them a lot of educational and development and the trainings in that. And it is called as a singer center because the singer has given them a machine. So these now women, can do their stitchings, can make the the designer clothes, and can do that. So these are few of the things which can do. You can see this is when you see a smile, and you can see some of the women here which have done a the beautician course and bridal makeups, their designs themselves and learning themselves. So what we are doing is we are just a connector. We connect them, we connect with them, the people who can teach them, who can work with them, who can provide little bit of a facilities to do that, and empower them to do that. There is a lot of blood donation camp which we do. And every time, another message I wanted to give is that your primary job is where you're working. So what I could able to do is that in our university itself we started a Rotary club. So this Rotary club also participated in a, so we combined with the PhD chamber and few of the other industrialists, and conducted those uh, blood donation camps. You could see the blood donation camps, and there are three blood banks which is supported by a Rotary, and they are doing a great job during the the COVID-19 as well. So these are few glimpses of mega health camps. So this is again we were doing a international cardiovascular conference. So the another, since I was the organizing secretary, so since I was wearing a multiple hat, so we thought that why can't we combine this initiative with many. We did it with the Spur Women Forum, we did it with a Rotary, and we could bring a a mega health camp along with a workshop. We have catered to the public societies, and then Ken was able to do that. This health camp was done at the Oakland industrial area. You could see that that we did a lot of camps where is basically for women hygiene as well, and the free distribution of pads with that. So you join hands with a lot of other people. So these are the young Rotaractors. They did the free health camp. So we have taken the help of a Delhi Heart and Lung Institute. We did a health checkup, eye donation counseling, dental checkups. So since it's a healthcare university, so a lot of Rotaractors, they were also very motivated, activated, to do that. So it's not that the single-handedly I could do the work, but it's a small motivations, and providing a network and a via media to do those kind of things. And these are another health camp which we did at another ashram. So we could see that a lot of people were there, and we could also invite Dr. KK Sethi, whose the consultation was very difficult to get in through. There's another beautiful program, a gift of life, which we are supporting through the Rotary. In this, that the basic is that many of the children, they are affected by the the heart conditions, and it is difficult to find out. And secondly, in the schools, and the basically the parents don't even come to know, and the parents are not even aware that they are being saying. And then the each surgery costs you about 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs. So we have that gift of life outreach. We reach to these students, these young children, and then these camps done in a schools, and then you have to take the principals and everybody along, do the checkups. And we did, like last time, about 1500 screenings. There were 26 shortlisted, there were 5 ECGs done. So this has been in correlations with the max. So you could see there is a one machine which has been donated, and these small children, the some of they was identified with the fact. So in the early, we could do that, the recovery with that. So these eco machines, which is signed a MOU with the max, and then we could do this kind of a screening and joining hands with this thing. There's another center which is called as the Rotary Divyang Kendra. You can see this sample in Karkaduma, and you can Google it out. And there are a lot of service which in Rotary we've been doing. But as my part, what we did is that we have an innovation incubation center. So we took a part that we'll upgrade this below knee prosthetics. So we did it with the 3D technology. So wherever we can use their knowledge. So we combined also with Delhi IIT. So with the support of Delhi IIT and DIPSRU, we upgraded those lifts and provided them. There are several awareness campaigns, which we did it. And you could see here Dr. KK Agarwal, who is the one, who teaches that how to save in 10 minutes, in 10 seconds, you can save a life. So we were, making this awareness and teaching a lot of young students like you that, if suppose you find out a people and you have to revive a heart before they reach the first aid, what you can do to do that. And there are a lot of list of awareness campaigns like HIV awareness, TB awareness, cancer awareness, women nutrition and hygiene awareness, cardiac awareness, CRP trainings, thalassemia awareness sessions for especially abled persons. So these were all the camps, we do organize with that. And this is all with a kind of a fun. So you could see these young students, they are a part of our Dipsru campus, and this is called as a Fitur Society. So they do a Nukkad Natak. So they joined hands with us, and they do through the Nukkad Natak, they did the HIV awareness. They also did about the Beti Bachao kind of a thing. So there was also you could do on education and literacy. So this is with the we did the leadership conclave, with again supported by the another Interact Club or with another schools to do that. And also the workshop on the data science analytics, basically, to empower some of the youngsters, who want to go in that field and cannot afford the expensive, say, courses abroad. So there was a 3-day workshop where the person from California came and gave them the lecture. And this is a picture where I said is that we chartered a Rotary Club of Dipsru. So we have 100 Rotaractors. So now this 100 people, 100 young people are living that dream. So in fact, what I see is that more than what we do is these 100 people are doing so many of these beautiful activities, in health, awareness, campaigns, and, channelizing not only their energy, but, a good thing for this thing. So I'm very happy to, mentor those club as well. So the activities keep on multiplying. So this you can see is that the activities which they are doing it into their Interact or the Rotaract Club. And these are some of the pictures of the health and awareness campaigns. So during pandemic, as well, our incubation center was also very active. So I've been mentoring that this is a extra responsibility for me. And then we have collected funds, and we given a PPE, we make the surfactants, we give it to the various not only the rations but also the disinfectant during COVID time. You could see a few pictures. And we could do this through the the e-meetings, newsletter, fellowships. So what I see is that the government is also doing a lot of things, empowering women, securing their lives. So 5 pillars of new security paradigm for children is securing the health of a mother and child, social security and empowerment, the financial security and empowerment, and securing the future and the women's safety. These are the few causes which I think is important. And you could see that the government has come out with a lot of schemes of securing health of mother and child. There is a lot of reforms now on a maternity leave. There's a mission Indradhanush, Pradhan Mantri, Matru Vandana Yojana, National Nutrition Mission, Surakshit Matri Abhiyan, and there is a social security and empowerment also. There are Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Hajj without Mehram, Triple Talaq Bill. These are all to empower them. And another, you must be aware, financial security empowerment, securing future, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, women's safety. So there is a lot which government is also been doing it. So women, this I had already covered. So there is a need to change, the kind of a social attitude. As a pharmacist, I'll fail in my duty if I won't say that the vision of healthy India is possible only when the 1.2 billion people of the country, they have access to quality medicine at affordable cost. So where the onus lies on a pharmacist, and each one or each woman is only possible with a significant contribution of also the woman pharmacist, basically. So the clear message, probably, not taking much of this time, I would say that, is to kind of join hands together, because when we share with each other, then only, we can basically do something good for the society. So here I'll stop my presentation and would be
Thank you
ready to
so
take
much,
up any
ma'am.
Q&A.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a wonderful session and you have really motivated the students with your story. So, ma'am, we have few questions. One student wants to ask that how can we identify that what is right for us? If there are like two or more options which are available, so how can we choose that which is the best option?
It's as I mentioned to you in my story that there is always a lot of dilemma. So one thing is the gut feeling, your passion. First, give priority to your passion, and then if you are in a crossroads, then take your professional help. Go to where you can get that professional help. Now it is not a kind of a out of these things. You have so many opportunities where you can access those professional help, that what could be good for it, because you have to see, thinking that how do you see yourself, that what you wanted to do is, because you can best do what you wish to do. If you are forced to do something, then it is a compulsion. So my advice to you is that do with your passion whatever you wanted to do is think something. And suppose if there is a roadblocks in taking up your passions, then if you are able to, and suppose many times it happens that you are not able to convince your parents or your sister or your brother that you wanted to do this part of things, then probably try to enroll them. So if you can enroll them, if you can satisfy them, then that means that you are really passionate about it. And if you are not passionate, if you are not yourself clear about it, then you will not be able to enroll. So the best, what I can see is, the short answer is that if you are able to, if you are passionate, if you are yourself convinced, then you will be able to convince others also, and you can enroll others as well. Hope I'll answer your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Ma'am, one student want to ask that how can we deal with women violence?
Uh, this is asked by some woman candidate or a
Yes,
men.
ma'am. Women.
Uh, women violence is that you have to see, again, there are two things. I won't suggest that that basically what happens is that when we are talking about women empowerment, it takes about the different angle of it. And sometimes you have to treat this as a kind of a equal person. And many times it happens that sometimes women are also at the fault. So first you have to be clear yourself, that is there anything which you can take it up. And secondly, the thing is that again, enrolling and then making your point is very very important, that sometimes you can the make other persons believe into that. But otherwise, if it is there, of course there are a lot of the government schemes is also there are, but they are all come secondary. The first thing is within you. You have to have that power. You have to have your support system. So make your support system strong. Like you should have your friends, your people around it. Suppose if suppose, I mean, I'm taking an X example. X is having some alteration or issue with their husband. So probably you find it out that what is your support system over there. Is it your neighbor? Is it your within the family? So you'll surely once you believe it in, and if you are very strong enough, you will find your support system. So look it for your support system. Networking is very important. Your peers is very important. Your people around is very important, because when you are together, you can fight the cause. So don't feel yourself alone. Don't feel yourself vulnerable. Talk to people, consult them and enroll them, and confide in them, and then take a very informed decisions, because every decisions have lot of repercussions. So you think before and then decide. And definitely, if required, take professional help.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, one of the male student is asking that since we know that our mothers work a lot, and when they do anything for us, be it our sisters, be it our mothers, be it our any female person in our family, they forget about their health. So how can we motivate them that they should focus on their health rather than the household work?
Yes, you are right. So then, you have to take them to different sessions. So maybe, for your mother, ask them, encourage them to take to the different sessions. And sometimes, you can take thinking out of the box. For example, if they're very busy in their routine job, then, do something like, if what I understand is you want to do something for your mother and take it out. Look at the ads, small ads of the foot crack. This is all with the fact that the mother is not taking care and you want them to take care of it. So take them out for something, make them realize, make them meet with some other women also, that they can share and do the work balance of a time. And how prioritizing, because one woman, if they are not good, their health is not supportive and good, so after some time, so they'll not be able to take care of their uh, own health as well, when or what to talk about the family or other support help. So this is again, the simple answer is that you have to find out the support systems. You have to find out who are their kind of a friends, their influencers, with whom that could be influenced. So once you have identified, you can surely find influencer around that. So every person's can be changeable, adaptable, flexible. So you have to find out what is the soft point, which can make them change.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I understand that you have your appointments. If you permit that there's so many questions in the chat box, can I take one more question?
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am, one student is asking that there's a limit of everything. So when the demotivational word cross the limit from superiors or maybe from opposite gender, how can we deal with it?
Can you say it again? What you're saying is there is a over motivation. Is it that?
Demotivational word. So they pass certain comments when the women is growing. They pass certain comments related to the gender, that you are a woman, that is
Yes.
the reason you are growing. So
Okay. Simple thing, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and don't get demotivated. So, you can motivate yourself with again, I'll share with you kind of again, apart from my learning, my experience, my story. So, see, I joined industry from academics. So whenever I the first, second, third presentations, so then the usual comments from my industry, they were saying, "अरे आप लोग academic से आए हो, वहाँ पे ये नहीं होता है." Industry wants something else. So these kind of may be a demotivating. So these should not be demotivating to you. This should motivate yourself. Prepare more to yourself. Work towards it, and find it out that this must be, the things which comes is come with someone believes, right? So you have to change those beliefs. So to do that, you have to work even harder. You have to change that perceptions. So these perceptions, every time you have to prove. Even today, if I have been saying that, if I'll say, from outside you can say you are very accomplished, but again, coming from a industry again to academics, it's a challenge to me. Because then again, there was a saying कि ये industry नहीं है, यहाँ पे ये वैसे नहीं होता है, यहाँ पे ये ऐसे होता है. Everybody will say their own point. So you have to, very humble, you have to be subtle, you hear their point out, but then you believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, slowly you can, overcome that hurdle. So the first motivation has to come from you. And secondly is that you work towards it. It's not that you should not have a false ego, or what you can call it as a super ego. The thing is that if you're hollow, definitely you can't stand. If you have a substance, then that is what you call it as. That's the real, when you have to be a real woman, a woman of substance in that way, right? A real woman. So then nobody can shatters you in that. So you have to be really kind of a strong, and there can be many ways you can do that to be yourself strong. Find out that company which gives you which don't demotivates you, motivates you in a bit, so that you have your confidence retained into, and you don't go into that. Then read some good books, good inspiring. I've shared with you the story of women like Lijjat Papad, who didn't have anything, don't even have the means. And today you see that this is the largest cooperative. So what they did, like 7 women joined hand together and then, came out with something. So here what I see is that most of us, who is sitting in cities or a metro cities are so much blessed. So we have to actually thanks to the Almighty that we are so much blessed to have so many of the things. But it's again a perceptual value. Again, since this is a question, if I'll take 2 minutes more, I have done a course in a landmark. You can Google out what is landmark. There is a time, when I was traveling, there is a guilt feeling that, okay, my children are there, they will be, what will be there. Another of my colleague was there. She had also been feeling. So there was a negative feeling which is coming, which was hampering my work. So then, I did a kind of the landmark. So with this, the people, the usual thing is they don't teach you anything, but the only thing is the people share their stories. So there was a woman, who was sharing their stories. There were 2 women, right? So one was sharing their story that, she was very upset, and the coach asked that, why you are so upset? So she said, I am not able to find my favorite shades, like of the, Louis Vuitton. And she was very upset. So the entire, there were 1,000 people, and they were telling ki, okay, what you have lost? Louis Vuitton shades, you are not finding it out, and you are so unhappy and so depressed as the world has gone. And there was another woman who says that, I have, lost my kind of a house due to this, basically, I think floods and all those things. So you see the comparison. But, if you see the sadness was same on both the faces, right? So I would not say that, somebody was more sad than another sad. There is no degree of that, depending upon your situations, your help, but you have to come out of it, right? So maybe she also needed the help. So the same landmark forum, in which were there, was addressing 2 issues. One is that somebody who has their own issues, and another one, who had a very bigger issues, right? So I think probably that will give you an answer that, you can be a different these things, but you always feel, count your blessings. And a lot of motivation things are this, that your glass is half full or half empty. These are all the things, but when we have to practice, we don't practice it. So try practicing it, and try enrolling and wrapping. So if you have a good support system, yes, definitely you could do that. And there's no harm in taking a professional help and a professional group where you love, where can motivate yourself, is something is always welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Believe in yourself and practice are the 2 keywords. So now I request Vandana ma'am to please give the closing remarks.
Wonderful, ma'am. What a journey. It's been really, even I didn't know some parts of your life journey, and it's been so wonderful and astounding to hear, how you went through your life journey and getting married and, having kids, and then still paving through the journey so beautifully. Because, throughout history, we hear stories and we witness, women, great women of strength. And we have seen those women who have managed to, leave an indelible mark on the society. And you are definitely one of them. And not only in academics and industry, I would say, but definitely in, the social responsibility that you have taken up so beautifully, giving back to the society, since you are capable of doing that. So not only being successful is a word, but obviously, staying in the society with so much confidence. And you definitely are strong, you're confident, and you're definitely courageous to, move from academia to industry, and then, facing all those comparisons, and then coming back to the academia, and then into the same comparison, and leaving a mark in both the places. Obviously, for everybody, contrary to the belief that it is a male dominated world, Women provide the foundation for power, for grace, for wisdom, a lot of justice, a lot of creativity, and a lot of hope. Also, I'm sure everybody believes that women are known to have better intuition. We are more patient. There's a lot of emotional focus. There's more compassion, and there's more networking ability. Not to forget, the long gossip sessions that women have. So the list of female strengths is endless. But I would not here demean the men as well, because today is a world of gender sensitization. And in all the meetings that we have for gender issues, it is so necessary to have men around us, because the best working places are those where the male boss is sensitive to these issues, where he understands where a female comes from, where they see the differences between men and women, and make the women comfortable in their own zones, with all the physical necessities, and obviously the emotional drama which comes with it. And the best homes also are those where men are supportive, like we saw it in your case, and where the brothers are supportive, where the fathers are supportive of their daughters. So the men that we have in this forum today also, and the ones who are watching us, it is not only necessary for a woman to be empowered, for a woman to know what her rights are. Definitely she should know. And I repeat what we said yesterday also, women need to be unhappy about the injustice done to her, then only she'll be able to stand out. Like one question came about the physical abuse. So first thing is you have to be unhappy about it, because like the data ma'am shared, 30% of women feel that it's okay when you're married to be physically abused. So first you have to believe that it's not okay, and then second step that you have to rise up to it. And definitely men. So in to create a happy home, to create a happy workplace, to create a happy team, and to be a good leader, you too have to be sensitized to these issues. And that is why you are celebrating Navratri today, both men and women, and to pray to all those 9 forms of Shakti, and they are around us. All these forms of Shakti are there in the forms of our friends, in the form of stranger females walking on the roads whom we don't know, to respect their dignity, our daughters, people in our family, and our own classmates and colleagues. And we have to worship them more than the Shakti in our temples. With those, I would like to thank Dr. Popli again. Thanks very much, ma'am, for sparing your time and for sparing your life story with us. There is so much more to talk about and ask. And maybe we'll have a separate session for this again sometime soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vanna, and thank you to all the participants. There were more than 200 participants. I just noticed, and thanks to your leadership. So we are all both blue collared today. Right, I could see you had the
Right,
feeling.
right,
So,
right.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks, Soumya. Thanks, Neha.
Thank you.
Thanks, team.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Vadvi, for joining.